Hello everyone, Exelbirth here, and this video is going to be just me taking a look at Ars Magica's new spell system, since it is updated in the Yogscast Complete pack. So, one of the first things I noticed was that there was no more crescent moon, half moon symbol next to your mana bar with my old spells. I now understand why that is the case. It's because the new spell system doesn't have a standard and enhanced casting mode. Now everything is done using, well, basically the creation of your spell itself to affect how the spell functions. So for a spell like the dig spell, there's a specific modifier which increases the power of your dig spell, and you can switch between the modes within the spell itself, and I'll explain that to you in a moment. First, I want to show the Oculus tree. There are a few more things tucked away in here, such as, let's see, velocity added. Here we go. Wave. That's a new spell shape, and it's a pretty interesting one. I like it quite a bit. There's also a few more spell effects like Fury. I do not believe Fury was in here before at all. I'm pretty sure there wasn't. But also, when you hover over the spell effects, it will tell you what their affinities are. So knockback has earth, water, and wind. Magic damage has magic and I think ender. Whatever the hell that is. I'm pretty sure it's ender. But yeah, more spell stuff. So awesome. And if we go to the talents, there's still augmented casting, although I don't know how that works in the new system. Also, affinity modifiers have changed slightly. The lightning affinity has a pretty different look to it. It's got a couple different spells, different effects that can be applied to you. Anyway, we're not going to be focusing on that. Get out of here. We're gonna go over the spells and rituals. So, making a spell sort of works the same way, but you're restricted to these squares. And the way it works is you have to choose one of your spell modifiers. So let's go with Wave. Now Wave is a principum shape, so I cannot actually do anything with it unless I add more spell effects to it. So first we're actually going to add Projectile, and then we will add Wave. And then, oh I don't know, Area of Effect. And we will do some fire damage. Now, the fire damage goes down here, not up here. The reason for that is these squares only are for affecting your spell shape and modifiers. What your spell actually does is applied all around. These are things you switch between. So if I want to, I can also add like a rune, which will do an area of effect zone. Or I can just do a simple beam that has extended range. And I'll call the spell Pyro Party. I can also add blind to the effects. So anything that gets hit gets hurt and is blinded. And there's a special button up here that is available for creative mode. You still have to go with the notebook and quill to create your spells and go through all that. The make a spell thing is a great thing just to show things off in creative mode. So we do that, the spell pops in our inventory, And then we choose whatever the hell we want for it. I'll go with the big fire explosion. And now, when I right-click with the spell, I create a small wave of fire when the projectile hits the ground. And it only lasts for a little bit. Now, the creepers over here are to help me demonstrate how this spell works. So, if I do that, I hit a bunch of creepers, and everything that was hit is now blinded. Now, if I hit the minus key to switch between the modes, I'm now placing down runes instead of shooting a ball that creates a wave of fire. And when the rune's activated, it does its effect so long as this is active. That's a fair amount of blind this time, I guess. There we go. And if I can get one of these groups of creepers to just kind of demonstrate the spell for me. Now, don't walk away from the rune. Go towards it. I'm surprised that someone hasn't triggered that already. Okay, the rune seems to have failed. I don't know, that's something that happens to me. The rune just kind of shows up, but doesn't actually exist. Let's place a few runes down. Ah, there we go, someone actually activated it. So as long as the spell is active, it creates a small pyro tornado that blinds you, and occasionally you can see the area of effect thing actually blossoming out. I don't see it every time for some reason. Ooh, I got a creeper heart. That's a pretty rare drop. And finally, I can just go with a plain old beam of fire. So all this exists in a single spell. I do not have to have multiple spells filling up my hotbar or filling up my spell book to switch between the different spell modes, which is awesome. I also have Chain Shocker here, which is kind of the same thing but with lightning. And it's got chain on it, so it'll affect things outside of the range of the spell as long as they're grouped up close enough together. Pretty useful spell. It's also got a zone effect on it. With chain, of course, because I was experimenting with the chain modifier, or the chain shape, because I've never used it before. Anyway, let's put that away. On to those floating obelisks. There is no more Nexus in Ars Magica 2. Or is this Ars Magica 3 now? I'm not even sure which. I'm going to assume it's Ars Magica 2 still. But there's no more Nexus. The Nexus has vanished. And in its place, there is now these obelisks. And the way the obelisk works is you just make it like an item. And you place it. And that's it. And we'll get to this part in a moment. I just want to grab it for now. We won't talk about it until I use it. And I'm going to need some chalk. There's only one type of chalk, wizard's chalk, and that's it. There's also this warding candle, which I don't think actually makes mobs get pushed away. It's just an item that you can have. There's special things that you can do with it. I haven't experimented with it at all, so I can't really say what there is to do with it. It is nice that it provides a source of light, though. So anyway, let's see. I will put these up in here for now. And we will grab some building blocks. And we're going to want, was it quartz? Yes, it was quartz. And nether brick. So, the way the new system works. You're going to need Vintium dust, which fortunately it seems to be more frequent now, or buckets of liquid essence, which I don't think that there is in this list. Oh, there is one right here. And in order to power your obelisk, you just plop items in it. Vintium dust or the liquid essence in a bucket. And that will generate not essence anymore, but Ethereum. And it's probably called a bucket of Ethereum, not. Yeah, it's a bucket of Ethereum, not essence. My mistake. So Vintium dust will give you a small amount of power. The liquid Ethereum will give you significantly more, and it'll last longer. It's also harder to find than the Vintium dust, so kind of balanced. Now, you actually are able to upgrade how much energy these generate by following the same method you used to create the Nexi in the previous version of Ars Magica. Simply make your pillars like normal, around your obelisk, and it will now generate more energy, more Ethereum out of what you put into it than it would normally. You also can take the chalk and draw a circle around it, which also will enhance how much energy is generated. And moving on, I'm going to explain how you create the light and dark versions of the obelisk. So before, you would just use the different colored chalk, use a different type of structure. In this, you use the same structure, you use the same object, the obelisk, and what you do, put these candles around it, and you do this ritual. I hope that doesn't interfere with each other. Alright, so for this ritual, we need a moonstone and a mana focus. Oops, I have magnet mode turned on. Let me turn that off. A mana focus and a moonstone. And you need to cast a light spell at the obelisk. So, oops. Boom! We have ourselves a celestial prism. It's not quite as cool and floaty as the obelisk is, but it is a very, very detailed looking item. How many bits is that across? It's very high resolution and drastically different than default Minecraft texture pack. And of course you can increase this power as well. Now, like the Light Nexus, this cannot generate any energy at night. It will automatically generate during the day and nothing else. Unless, of course, you put the structure around it with the moonstone caps, in which case it will generate energy at night and not during the day. Since all I have is moonstone, well, without scrolling all the way back to the beginning of the page list, I'll just go with that. And now it's generating energy. And you can see the little effects as it does so. Very pretty. Now how about the Dark Nexus? This one, I do not have memorized off the top of my head, but I will give it a go. I think it's like this. With the ritual candles in here, maybe? I'm pretty sure it was an hourglass shape. And then we need a monster focus and a sunstone. And we cast a fire spell at the obelisk. Now, I just went ahead and did a lazy spell which had both fire and light. And I did not get the ritual right. Let me consult my compendium quick. Fortunately, it explains all these in here. Ah, I was close. I didn't extend it far enough. And I had... Why is there a little fire there? That's weird. I didn't extend it far enough, and... yeah. So let's just break the chalk and the candles. Candles go here. And chalk goes there. And now that will work. Or it won't. What have I got wrong now? Oh, okay. See, if I made this once before, I would have understood why I'm being an idiot. Let's see. That goes there. Okay. I accidentally decided to put the chalk too symmetrically. Okay. There. Sunstone. Monster focus. Spell of fire. And we have our Dark Aurum. Now, one thing I want to comment on. This looks remarkably similar to what the Aura nodes in Thaumcraft 2 look like. I'm just saying, there's a strong similarity. And I have a feeling it was probably inspired by how those nodes looked. But you always can see this Aurum from the same direction, which is pretty cool. And then of course you can upgrade it as well. And I think that we can use sunstone blocks for this one. And, oops, I forgot my wizard's chalk. And let's grab ourselves an animal. So, like the Dark Nexus in the previous version of Ars Magica, this one uses the souls of the living to power it. And it completely consumes the body as well. And it doesn't really have a limit as to how much it can take in at once. It will take everything if it can, which is exactly what it does. So that's how you create the 3 different Nexi replacements. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So I hope you guys liked this video. I will try to be getting videos of my server up again soon. I'm hoping that the lag issue gets resolved soon enough. I have a help ticket open on the website that is in charge of the pack, explaining with information from the console what's going on with my server. Some sort of multi-block structure, and I cannot figure out for the life of me what the heck it is causing it. I've been to the bases I know about that my friends have, and only multi-block structure I saw was for applied energy cells. I took those all down. The messages were still popping up. So I just shrug and wait. But yeah, I'm thinking of starting up a mod spotlight series for all the mods in the Yogscast Complete Pack after a while, which I might use this world for. I could also use this world for testing things out, but I'm thinking of doing like an underground base with big rooms for the mods, which is kind of what I'm doing with this tunnel here. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this short little video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and fave if you did. I will see you in the next video of mine, whenever that may be. Take care, guys, and goodbye.